Here we show the armamentarium, or materials, needed for a stainless steel crown prep and placement. A high-speed handpiece is needed along with 3 burrs, a 169 tapered fissured burr for depth cuts, a diamond football burr for occlusal reduction, and a tapered diamond burr for opening up the proximal contacts. Along with these, a mirror and explorer are needed, a rubber dam cassette for moisture control, contouring and crimping pliers for shaping the crown itself, and cement with a mixing pad to place it. When making a tooth preparation for a stainless steel crown, these are the general considerations. Occlusal reduction of the tooth should be 1.5 millimeters. Proximal contacts should be broken using a feather edge margin. Ensure that all edges are rounded and that there is a slight occlusal convergence of the vertical walls, as seen in the diagram. Due to thinner enamel and taller pulp horns on primary teeth, less reduction is required for the crown preparation compared to a permanent tooth crown prep. This is true for both occlusal reduction and proximal reduction. Place the rubber dam for moisture control. Ideally, the clamp should be placed 1 tooth posterior to the tooth to be prepared. Reduction of the occlusal surface is carried out with a tapered fissured burr, such as the 169L or a football diamond in the high-speed handpiece. Begin making depth cuts by cutting the occlusal grooves to a depth of 1 to 1.5 millimeters and extending through the buccal, lingual, and proximal surfaces. Uniformly reduce the remaining occlusal surface by 1.5 millimeters, maintaining the cuspal inclines of the crown. Proximal reduction is accomplished with the tapered fissured burr or thin tapered diamond. Contact with the adjacent tooth must be broken gingivally and buccolingually, maintaining vertical walls with only a slight convergence in an occlusal direction. The gingival proximal margin should have a feather edge finish line and no chamfer. Care must be taken not to damage adjacent tooth structure. Round all line angles. The occlusal buccal and occlusal lingual line angles are rounded by holding the burr at a 30 to 45 degree angle to the occlusal surface and sweeping it in a mesial-distal direction. Buccal-lingual reduction for the stainless steel crown preparation is limited to this beveling and confined to the occlusal 1/3 of the crown. All angles of the preparation should be rounded to remove corners, but not so much as to create a round preparation. Remove the remaining caries with a slow-speed round burr and a spoon excavator. The rubber dam can be removed to check occlusal clearance. Selection of a crown begins as a trial and error procedure. The goal is to place the smallest crown that can be seated on the tooth that will establish pre-existing proximal contacts. The selected crown is tried on the preparation by seating the lingual first and applying pressure in a buccal direction so that the crown slides over the buccal surface into the gingival sulcus. Friction should be felt as the crown slips over the buccal bulge. The margin of the crown should be about 1 millimeter subgingival with no tissue blanching. When you find a crown that fully seats, make sure to try a size smaller to ensure a best fit. Trim, crimp, and contour the crown as necessary to form a tightly fitting crown. To do so, move around the gingival margin of the crown with the crimper, applying slight inward pressure to bring in the margins of the crown, achieving a more true fit. Contouring pliers can then be used as necessary to eliminate irregularities of the crown margin. Rinse and dry the crown. Seat the crown by filling approximately 2/3 with cement, with all inner surfaces covered, then placing it on the tooth. Press the crown firmly onto the tooth, then have the patient bite into occlusion to make sure that it is fully seated. Wipe away the excess cement and floss interproximal embrasures. Rinse well and re-examine the occlusion and soft tissues before dismissing the patient. Common errors in this procedure include the following: inadequate occlusal reduction, which negatively affects occlusion, preparations with a ledge or chamfered margin, which prevents the crown from seating, not breaking the proximal contact, which also prevents the crown from seating, selecting a crown that is too large. This can result in an open margin, rotations, tippings, or retention of the crown, tissue blanching due to excessive subgingival extension of the crown. In summary, the key points for the stainless steel crown preparation are: occlusal reduction of 1 to 1.5 mm, occlusal contour is maintained, all interproximal contacts are broken, no interproximal ledges remain or chamfer margins, facial and lingual walls are intact and with a bevel on the occlusal, and no damage is done to the adjacent teeth. And for the stainless steel crown fit, contour, and cementation, the summary and key points are: stainless steel crown is properly trimmed, crimped, and contoured. The stainless steel crown margins are approximately 1 mm subgingival. Stainless steel crown is properly placed with no rotations. Stainless steel crown does not interfere with occlusion.